Alright, and we are underway here into this Group D matchup between FanDeLight and shadowgato. I think shadowgato has one of my favorite profile pictures in the tournament, which I'm not sure if that impacted your decision on the prediction, but it sure would impact mine if I was a chatter and was allowed to predict, which I'm not, unfortunately. We'll be rolling off into Cap Kingdom, everyone's favorite place to be. You have a low, 100 something, or you have a sub-hour even. This is definitely a hot tourist destination for you, as you will be spending the majority of your SMO lifetime here, soaking in the sights. A lot of sights to behold. And relatively similar movement so far heading into the frog room. We don't see things quite so synced up, although it is relatively common to see pretty similar Cap Kingdoms. It's not a super complex stage, there's not a lot of route variations or anything like that, so not super surprising to see. Yeah, that's a pretty easy trap to fall into, Game Nerd, with any speed game where you're... It's so easy to think, oh man, all I need is that one good start, and then it's just going to catapult me to victory, and then you get that one good start, and then you just make a mistake, and then you just reset anyways, and it's like, why did I just spend an hour constantly resetting for that perfect start, and then I just reset anyways? Like, what's the point? I'm always a huge advocate when I'm speaking for no resets, and then I go and I do PB attempts, and then I reset a bunch, because... Hard to not be a hypocrite when it comes to speedrunning. It's really easy to be like, oh yes, this is the perfect way to speedrun, and then you actually go and speedrun and you just completely make a fool of yourself and look like you've never practiced a day in your life. But both these runners looking good so far. Dan calling out the 219 cap on physical. You like to see it. I will say physical is the power play. You gotta have that physical copy. I'm a big fan of having a box for your video game, but that might be because I am 8 billion years old, so. Saw a fellow speedrunner on Twitter posting about how they loved when they were younger going to retro game stores and seeing all the games behind the glass cabinet. It made me feel like I was like a dinosaur, because I was thinking back to my childhood and I was like, ah yes, the rental game store. I miss, going to the movie store and picking out my favorite N64 game to rent for one weekend and then have to return. That is not a thing that you do anymore. I'm not sure if that's fortunate or unfortunate, but definitely not something you do anymore. We see both players here going for Dino Skip. We haven't seen, I don't think... Have we seen any DSSs so far in this tournament? I want to say no. I think DSS in races has fallen super far out of favor at this point. I know I was watching some Chaos Pringle the other day, and I think he said something like, unless he's going up against somebody with a better PB, he's never going to go for DSS, which I think makes a lot of sense. The potential to lose time on DSS is just too big. And the time save potential is just too small. I totally understand why racers go for it in PB attempts, but in races, it's not really worth it. It's always interesting to see what racers individually and as a community decide to do from strat to strat. Not a lot of strats in SMO that, people will go for in PBs, but opt to not go for in races. Off the top of my head, going for DSS, obviously, and then Spiritless. Although, generally, I feel like when runners go for Spiritless, they just do it in races anyways. It's just one of those strats you don't really go for until you have a low 58 or a mid 58 or something like that. Both racers going to be closing out cascade here with the final moon on top of the little craggy exterior here. Looks like FanDeLight had a little bit cleaner movement heading to that moon, but shouldn't be too big of a deal, especially with a bop there from the Chain Chomp. Unfortunate little guard there. Going to be stopping FanDeLight from reaching the globe. Not a huge deal, though. Not a big deal. We can handle that. As both these players going to be rocking pretty similar PBs. We have about a minute and 17... Well, exactly a minute and 17 seconds difference between them, so... Out of all of the races going on in the Division B matches, this one is pretty dang close. I would say that both players have about an equal opportunity to get out of this one ahead, but obviously shadowgato having a little bit clearer movement so far, and you would expect it from the PBs. So pulling into Sand Kingdom here. Some people might say, you know, this is where the run really starts. I feel like they're just underestimating Cap and Cascade a little bit, but that's fair. They're pretty practiced, not too difficult kingdoms. As shadowgato taking a bit of a dive there after playing the nut for DSTA. And missing the bird with the first cap throw, so getting a little bit thrown off there and having a little bit of struggles recovering. But the backup's obviously not too difficult for shadowgato, but that is definitely not what you want to see. Taking a dive and then taking a bonk on the side of the wall. Going to be bringing him quite a bit further behind as FanDeLight is already down in the pipe, recovering that entire time deficit. That was a bit of a momentum swing there, to say the very least. See if that trend continues here in Sand Kingdom, as we hope to see shadowgato recover. Always interesting to see what happens in these situations. You've made your first mistake. Do you make another one? Does this spiral out of control, or do you recover? And so far, shadowgato making things look alright here on the recovery. But we'll have to see as we come up to some more difficult movement here. So coming up, we have the Archway Moon, which can have a little bit of difficulty when you're coming up to the icicle. You can kind of slip and slide on it a little bit. It is made of ice. It's not super precise geometry. shadowgato looking okay with that. And then right after that, we have Bullet Bill Jam, which is quite a difficult strategy. So we'll see if both players are able to nab it here. FanDeLight looking good so far. No early captures, which is good to see. Both players should be nailing this one, as FanDeLight grabbing that Crate Moon just a little bit before shadowgato. Worth mentioning as well, we got the stat sheet rolling, so if you want to follow along with the race, all the specifics, if you are a bit of an SMO nerd, you can go ahead and do that. We've got fancy stuff on the sheet as well. We've got all sorts of comparisons and fancy doodads you can check out. So we see a little bit of a lead still from FanDeLight here. Holding on to that slight lead. Definitely not insurmountable. shadowgato is just behind, heading up to Jaxi Skip. Both going for the standard Jaxi. Not going for any reverse Jaxi here today. Yes, this is the Pac-Man King of Kong tournament sponsored by Twin Galaxies. Welcome in, BG. Appreciate you being here. Curryway will be playing next. Don't you worry. Pulling up to the Oasis here. A couple of gimme moons. We'll see if either runner opts to go for or nails single spin notes here. It can be a trick that runners go for at the skill level, but it is quite a bit... it's a difficult trick, let's just say that. FanDeLight doing a couple spins. shadowgato Throwing one cap. When we need another, looks like we'll need one more. Needing actually 3 cap throws there in order to grab all the notes. Not a big deal, but it does lose a tiny bit of time as FanDeLight, of course, holding on to that slight lead and going to be globing. At least 5 to 10 seconds ahead of shadowgato here, so pretty impressive stuff. I would say about 7 or 8 if I was to just eyeball it, but of course we do have the fancy stat sheet I was talking about, so not only do we get to see split deltas compared to PBs, compared to each other, we also get to see things like trick efficiency. So if a runner goes for a trick, it shows that, how many times they attempted it, how many times they got it throughout the tournament. Really interesting stuff, something you don't necessarily get out of every speedrunning tournament, but of course, stats team, kind of impressive, kind of through the roof, at least for SMO. I remember the first time I opened up one of these GSA SMO stats sheets and I literally felt like, I don't know, the first time you open it up, it's like, oh my god, did I just open a math textbook? Like, there's like pie charts and tables and yeah, it's pretty extensive. I'm pretty stoked on it, honestly. Looks like we've got both runners here in Lake Kingdom now. We'll be seeing what routes we end up going for. We can reference our fancy schmancy stat sheet here and see that FanDeLight does not typically go for lake clip, so we're not going to be seeing it here this time either. But shadowgato has gone for it historically, going for it 3 times and getting it 0 out of those 3 times. So we'll see here. Was practicing it before and getting an instant clip, but unfortunately unable to get out of bounds there. The hat going out of bounds, Mario not. Okay, but we get it the second time. Oh, but unfortunately falling back in bounds. A rough time loss for shadowgato, as it was looking like he was going to have a little bit of a time save right off the bat, but unfortunate. Going to be losing time there overall. Yeah, definitely unfortunate. At least we got Dilly P skip. That's the most important thing. As long as we're getting Dilly P skip. It's FanDeLight first into the Rango fight here. Gonna be dispatching the bunny with the razor hat. Honestly, if I had to fight any of these rabbits, I don't know. I'd either be most scared of Rango or... Oh my gosh. FanDeLight apparently very afraid of Rango as he cannot get A, the fast cycle, or B, any sort of... Oh my goodness, just gonna summon the hat flower. That is something I haven't seen in a race in a while, but I can respect it. Definitely gonna give shadowgato a decent amount of time to catch up here as shadowgato nails the fast strats. Makes up quite a bit of time. So we'll see what time difference is here. Exiting the stage with our fancy schmancy stat sheet. I don't have to do basic math. Very cool. So it looks like the lead has extended for FanDeLight in the stage by about a second and a half, which isn't too big of a deal considering the fact that shadowgato lost a bunch of time on late clip, got handed a little bit of a favor by FanDeLight, messing up that Rango fight. But it's certainly anyone's game as we enter into Wooded here. Pretty difficult kingdom to manage, especially when we're going for this nut clip route. I'm 100% sure we go for it on both sides. Be very, very shocked if we didn't, but I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a nut clip fail or two here, as nut clip, not the freest strat in the world. Definitely has some variance, can cause some problems. Luckily, the backup routing in this kingdom is pretty well documented, pretty well known. Even a pretty decent route to go for if you're just skipping nut clip entirely. So shadowgato here going to be grabbing a moon from the shop just before, or just after rather, FanDeLight has already grabbed it. Look, rabbits are tricky. They're slippery. They're hard to catch. I will say the rabbits in this game quite a bit more easier to catch than in Mario 64 as a casual, but that's just my opinion. At least the little bunnies don't throw razor hats at you. They don't throw up on you. They're not throwing bombs at you. The brutals aren't so nice. FanDeLight having to go for this backup here. Fortunately not nabbing the nut clip. And shadowgato on the other hand, we are out of bounds. This is not where we're supposed to be, but it is certainly a fast place to be if we want to collect some moons, if we want to get into the position we want to. FanDeLight gonna be in a similar position, but has to go for this backup movement. Having a really hard time getting onto this little geometry piece there. We'll be a little bit behind in terms of the moon count here, so we'll see how things develop, but definitely a solid lead shift for shadowgato here, in a solid lead now. Nut clip being a route that saves quite a bit of time. If you miss it in a race, it can be kind of cataclysmic, honestly. If you're new to the channel in the chat room, you've not seen a speedrun race before. We've got two gamers right now playing Super Mario Odyssey head-to-head. Whoever beats the game first wins. There are some rules and restrictions, but it's basically a free-for-all. If you can beat the game in any fashion, that is the category here, any percent. Only goal is to exit the wire at the end of the game. And shadowgato currently in a slight lead, as he did nab that nut clip. FanDeLight having to watch a bunch of cutscenes here, as of course he has to collect the story moon in order to get enough moons to power up the Odyssey. Going for this FRS. Very nice to see we have that down. Hey, 11 days ain't that bad. Depends on what you mean by clear. I mean, if you got all the moons in 11 days, like, I'm bowing down to you, I'm not gonna lie. I still haven't collected all the moons. Kind of a sin. I'm not gonna lie. I need to get on that. Yeah, that is a good thing to point out here. Shadow pretty close to their PB. FanDeLight as well, playing pretty close to PB so far. Which is good to see. You can never expect racers to get a PB in a race, but you can always hope, you can always pray. It does happen from time to time, but FanDeLight taking a fierce bonk on spiritless routing and falling into deep woods. That is not where you want to be. We'll see what the backups are. Will we be collecting some moons? Looks like we will. So that's rough. shadowgato having some troubles in the pipes, but comparatively to taking a L into deep woods, that's really nothing. We're going to grab this seed and plant it. Get on out of deep woods. Missing the dunk, missing the alley-oop. Oh my goodness. FanDeLight just having some troubles. shadowgato already powering up here, exiting the stage entirely. FanDeLight having to head back on down. Gonna actually go through the Sphinx tunnel here. So apparently knows what he's doing. I, for one, would be completely lost, completely out of control at this point. But FanDeLight knows the backups, knows the moves, and has made his way over to the flooded pipes. But at what cost? I mean, that was a pretty hefty time loss there. Never want to see a deep woods from any player in a tournament setting. Or in any setting, really, but... it's how it happens. It does happen to the best of us. At least if you're FanDeLight, or if you're a FanDeLight fan in the chat room, you can have some solace here that FanDeLight does have at least one win under his belt here in the tournament. So even if FanDeLight was to drop this match today, wouldn't be guaranteed eliminated from this entire tournament. Ocarina's Drew most likely moving on to the final playoffs rounds, but Shadowgato and Ducky both need to fight for their lives here, and it could be a three-way tie scenario depending on what happens for the rest of this bracket, but Shadowgato going to be dispatching Bowser here before FanDeLight even enters the stage. Yeah, you cannot warp out of Deep Woods. That is accurate. Use this light to help out FanDeLight. I agree, as Shadowgato gonna be taking a little bit of a low road there for the meme tree, but that is a-okay. Does make it over the Poison Jam gap. Can someone confirm in chat that we can warp after going into the Deep Woods and getting out? I know there's some weird warp rules in Wooded, but I'm not sure exactly what there are. Because I feel like warping to that checkpoint would actually be faster if you could do it, but I don't know. I don't think you can. Well, I mean after Deep Woods. After you get out of the Deep Woods. Because, like, after you fight Spewart, you can't warp. Okay, so talking to the Sphinx is just faster then. I see. Either way, some weird warpage stuff going on in Wooded. We won't drain too much time talking about it, as we do have a kingdom here, believe it or not, that Shadowgato has been clearing in rapid succession. These moons just getting collected. Back-to-back lightning speed. One more to go. Ooh, a little bit shaky, a little bit shaky. I was gonna say looking calm, cool, and collected, but had a little bit of troubles there on the last moon. Gonna take a death. Totally understandable. Totally acceptable. Yeah, I'm on Team Lysol for this one. I feel like if you can warping to the checkpoint would be faster than rolling over to the Sphinx, talking to the Sphinx, then rolling to the doorway. I feel like that most certainly is slower, but either way. I have to get the SMO scientists on it. FanDeLight having a little bit trouble getting the Prison Moon here, but does end up nabbing it with some slick backups. Shadowgato nailing the awning jump first try. You'd love to see that. I think was it Silo or Stravos? Some well-trained gamer messed that up today in the Division A matches, so easy to, you know, see that jump and be like, oh yeah, everybody's gonna get that first try, but it can trip people up at any skill level, as Shadowgato getting a very, very low, but excellent Goomba darn there. Can save a little bit of time. I always get terrified when I see runners just rolling over those gaps in the railings. Like, that is terrifying to me as a low-level speedrunner of this game. Yeah, I mean, cutscenes like the warping cutscene take a lot longer than they probably feel like they take, though. As FanDeLight going for some fancy movement on the awning jump. Gonna be taking a bonk there. That was a little bit low. I don't think we're gonna make it with that. Okay, I'm just barely clearing it. Proving me wrong. shadowgato is well into the Wiggler fight here. Making shadowgato's bit rate there go a little bit insane. Too many things going on the screen. Computer going, you do not have enough bits for this this rate, my dude. But we'll see how this second cycle goes. Looks alright. All the pieces do align, and shadowgato does collect that extra heart with the bullets out of the tank there. Something that I didn't know for a long time watching and playing this game, but is very, very useful. Don't have to roll up to the hearts to collect them. You can just shoot at them. Not really sure about the physics on how that works, but we'll just roll with it. As shadowgato is rolling out of the kingdom here, the tank's no longer required. It's going to be floating back to the Odyssey. As Mario, of course, magically collecting the power to fly after collecting multi-moons. Not sure how it happens, but you know, we just kind of roll with it. So we'll see what things happen in Day Metro. Of course, we see shadowgato securing a pretty fat lead ever since Wooded, causing a bit of trouble for FanDeLight. But you never know. Alright, FanDeLight trying to dispatch this second cycler of the Wiggler here. Doing a pretty good job at it, so very nice. I'm over here getting way too engrossed in the stat sheet. I'm missing the actual gameplay. Need to stop that. Stat sheet is too distracting. shadowgato are gonna be going for bullet building, so definitely an interesting attempt here. I mean, at a 102, that's definitely a reasonable range to be going for. Losing a bit of time on that roulette. I mean, this is... Woo! shadowgato, relax. Take a deep breath. Oh, man, that was hard to watch. Oh, man. Oh, man. I mean, that's all the time you save from bullet building right there. That's... I mean, we're now losing time over Musician's Route, unfortunately. But we'll see what happens. As long as this is a clean bullet building route, I mean, we can't discredit shadowgato for at least going for it. As FanDeLight loads up onto the scooter, gonna be going for scoot clip. And nailing it. Nice drive-by from FanDeLight. Oh no, but collecting the cone there a little bit early. I don't know if this cap throw will be homing in on that cone. It's a little bit high, but does end up grabbing it. shadowgato having a bit of troubles in the bullet building room here, having to go over the gap manually, not in a bullet building. Really having trouble collecting these moons. You do have to collect the moons, not just dance around them, I do believe, so... A little bit of breathing room here for FanDeLight, as FanDeLight, of course, still pretty significantly far behind, but not the end of the world. Okay, that was really nice. Going for the spin throw to open the dumpster moon there. shadowgato looking to redeem himself as he heads up to the top of the tower to collect the dizzying Heights moon. Very good stuff. FanDeLight, of course, going for this standard musician's route, which in this particular case, going to be saving time over the building route of shadowgato, so definitely not a bad decision there, especially considering we have a 103 17 PB. Going for bullet building at this time is really not peak of importance. As expert gamer Dan75 has put in the chat room, doesn't save much time. 3 seconds in a speedrun that is over an hour long is relatively, you know, not important. I mean, if you're stressing out over saving 3 seconds and you have a 103, yeah, I don't know. Maybe you do some best grinding. Yeah, I could have sworn I heard 2 before too, but I mean, could be one of those things where it's like between 2 and 3. Of course, every strat at the end of the day is going to vary from runner to runner how much it saves them. Not every player plays the same. Of course, optimally, you know, that's what generally people will compare strats between, but reality and practice, it's going to vary quite a bit as shadowgato has touchdown here in the Snow Kingdom. We are nearing the, not nearing the end, but we are definitely past the halfway mark here. Actually, it saves 2.875 seconds, but only if done optimally. If you do the vault strategy, it actually only saves 2.1 seconds. Chat notifying me that there is a gold split on the horizon. That is pretty poggers. That was good to hear. I can confirm that that is indeed a gold, so saving quite a bit of time there. Over his PB, FanDeLight saving almost 10 seconds just from Day Metro alone. So very nice stuff from FanDeLight, keeping things intact. I gotta say, if the gamers in the chat go and visit either of these racers on their streams right now, I think you will see that FanDeLight is actually winning the meme battle in the layouts. shadowgato might have a faster time and might be doing better in the race right now, but only has, I think, 7 memes in their layout, whereas FanDeLight has, I can't even count how many memes, at least 20. Including 1 or 2 memes in the splits alone, so shoutouts to FanDeLight Ron for absolutely dominating the meme game, as shadowgato taking a bit of a bump there. A bump. I'm gonna start calling them bumps. Big old bump. Yeah, highly suggest going and checking out the racers, particularly for the memes. Don't even necessarily have to follow, although I would encourage it. 100% need to check out the memes, though. shadowgato going for a little bit of risky movement there at the end of the Goomba room. Not super risky, but it definitely put me on edge a little bit. I was a little bit scared, but you know, none of my business. Oh my gosh. Akatsuki coming out and calling Drunkable a meme. Monkey S. I don't know what to say about that. I'm a little bit uncomfortable now. All I know is that I just went and followed both racers, so everybody in the chat should as well. That's the rules. I don't make them up, I just make them up. shadowgato looking a bit scary on the snowdram, but that's just because it's a scary trick. shadowgato was practicing this up until the final minutes before the race, so definitely comfortable for him. Let's go, Drunkable, helping me out getting my racers to their follow quotas. If we don't reach the follow quotas on the racers, I'm pretty sure I have to shut the whole tournament down. I'm not sure the exact logistics on that, but that's just something I've been hearing about. So yeah, definitely just something to keep in mind. Yeah, it's definitely a question whether or not we'll see any Wilco clips in this run. I'm gonna continue calling it Wilco clip as long as I am forced to be in the commentary booth for these races. Not that I don't enjoy doing commentary, but I love any time when we have two commentators on and I get to just focus on like uploading YouTube videos or something. Very nice times. It's FanDeLight getting that snowdram nice and easy. Both players making it look simple. It's not simple, I promise you. I tried it once. I didn't even get close. I am not a trick jumper. shadowgato pulling up to the cheap here in the water. It is near the moment of truth time. Will we see the fabled Wilco clip? You see legendary gamer Twisty Duck in the chat room. Duck, welcome in. Uh-oh. Okay, we are out of bounds. This is huge. The Wilco has been clipped, but it looks like shadowgato might be falling back in bounds. Oh no, we have remained out of bounds. Very cool. shadowgato going for the new strategies and nailing it. Something you like to see. That's the second time we've seen the Wilco clip today in action. Very good stuff. I'm really jealous of all the youngins who get to like grow up with the Nintendo Switch. I remember growing up on like road trips, I would always dream because like I remember seeing an ad one time for this like Nintendo 64 console you could mount in your car, but like my parents would never like invest in that. Like, come on, like this is the 90s we're talking about. We're not gonna have a TV in our car. Come on, what are we, like from the future? But now you go on a road trip as a Nintendo kid, you got your Nintendo Switch every time. Play any game you want. Must be nice. Kids these days, rabble. That's part of my commentary strategy is A, call it Wilco clip all the time so people get annoyed and want to do commentary, and B, talk about how old I am so Thera gets mad and then comes back and does commentary. Those are my two strategies. Yeah, I mean, I have turned 27 this year, so I'm, you know, not long for this world. I've been on the planet way too long. It's only a matter of time. Only got like 70 years or so left on me, potentially. You see FanDeLight here nailing the fish clip. Gonna be pulling up into Luncheon Kingdom shortly as shadowgato has already entered the kingdom. It's getting stuck underneath the grate a little bit there. Okay, needs to take it easy. We don't want to see a death. Old is needing a hit. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Looks like the gap has widened yet again. FanDeLight losing ground to shadowgato. Made up a bit of time in Day Metro, but just wasn't quite enough. shadowgato closing the lid on the mistakes can, and FanDeLight not able to keep pace with shadowgato's movement, unfortunately. So we'll see if anything cataclysmic happens here for the rest of Luncheon. Can definitely be a kingdom where a death can happen at a variety of different places. Movement can get pretty tricky. And yeah, there's just a lot of opportunities all around. As FanDeLight having some trouble with the salt pile. Just not what you want to see if you want to see a FanDeLight comeback. We're nearing the end of this run. shadowgato here vaulting over the pits of Molten Pepto-Bismol. Saw Silo take a death here earlier today, which is pretty like, I don't know, it almost brought Sean Hartman back. If it weren't for a death in Forks, we could have seen a much closer race. But shadowgato managing to hold things together into the Forks room. Up throw movements looking pretty solid. Unable to grab that last moon without the last fork, but not a huge deal, as we will be exiting the room. And FanDeLight, quite a bit of time behind here, not even reached the town center yet. It's gonna be a bit of a... I mean, it's not even a bit anymore, it's just kind of like a giant mountain to climb right now. You're hoping for a lot as FanDeLight if you want to come back in this one, as Ruined Kingdom takes up a big chunk of the rest of the run. Isn't a lot of room for error there. It's pretty much just Bowser's Kingdom after Luncheon, as Moon Kingdom as well tends to be fairly consistent for most runners. But we have seen Moon turn the tides of battle, so you can never call it too early here in these SMO 80% races. Yeah, for being one of the last stages in the game, it's not that big of a difficulty barrier. I mean, people can have troubles with Moon Cave skip. I guess you could argue that Moon Cave is like the final barrier, so skipping over that is why it's so consistent. But I don't know. I feel like Moon Cave isn't even that crazy. I think I've only seen Moon Cave done in a speedrun. An any percent speedrun rather, once or maybe twice. So yeah, I'm sure they weren't optimal attempts either. I'm not sure what the world record for just Moon Cave is. I think it's like 3 minutes or something like that. But I'm not sure how tricky the movement is. Would be interesting to see how how the run would be right now if Mooncave was still in it. I think there would be potentially a couple sub hours. Okay, so it's less than I thought. It's less than 3 minutes. So yeah, we would definitely have some sub hours on the board. That's big. FanDeLight having some troubles here with the ending movement for the tower climb of Luncheon Kingdom. Or mountain climb? I don't know, hard to call it a mountain as it's more like just a collection of squares and cubes, but we'll be making his way up to the soup as we have entered the Ruined Kingdom, where I will not make a single shout out this entire kingdom, just despite all the other commentators. Instead, I will give a very in-depth play-by-play. All this exciting dragon action. Shadowgato getting on top of the dragon and pulling out some swords. This dragon needs some help, so we're just going to go ahead and ground pound on his head and destroy their brain, which I'm not really sure if that's the nicest thing we could do for him. But it is what we're going to do. As the dragon shoots lightning at Shadowgato, will Shadowgato be able to persevere? I mean, that dragon sure does look scary. I don't know if he can do it. Oh, phew. Manages to avoid the incredibly terrifying fuzzy things that stand still once they spawn 8 hours late. Very impressive moves by Shadowgato. One more round of swords for Shadowgato, and that will be it for the Ruined Dragon. Their head has been destroyed. Still not really confirmed or denied whether or not you can continue to talk to this dragon afterwards. Don't quite understand. I don't think I've even made my way up back to the dragon fight in my own casual playthrough. It's always funny to see that 3 moon refill station. A far cry from the all moons refills, or moon dumps, excuse me. Those are words. Alright, so now that we're heading out of the Ruined Kingdom and we're into the Bowser's Kingdom, where we finally have some downtime, because, you know, nothing ever happens in Bowser's Kingdom and the points don't matter. I'll go ahead and shout out the Urban Arts Partnership as Shadowgato assaulting his face into the wall here. Pokio's just poking the wall aimlessly. But if you haven't already heard of them, we are partnered with the Urban Arts Partnership. Very convenient to partner with the partnership, but they are a fantastic group of individuals in the United States that go around the country and they spread knowledge about how to get into college. They give kids all over, particularly minorities, women, you know, people of color, people who aren't necessarily in such a prestigious, or not prestigious, but privileged position in order to go to college. They give them the skills they need as well as the money to do it. They've secured over $5 million worth of merit-based scholarships for their kids in the next year, which is pretty staggering of a number, honestly. Like $5 million in scholarships is nothing to wag your finger at. And 100% of students going through their program, the School of Interactive Arts, do end up succeeding in college, which is pretty phenomenal. I would implore you to go learn more about them if you are interested. We run fundraisers for them quite often. We ran a crowd control event earlier in this month, and we will continue to do events like that in the future. shadowgato getting completely dominated by that ball there. Unfortunate. FanDeLight coming up in the rear here in Bowser's Kingdom. Not quite in a position where we can comfortably say that a comeback is possible, but certainly not out of the question, as I was completely lying earlier. Bowser's Kingdom is actually probably one of the hardest kingdoms in the game. Got a lot going on, and the mech fight is no joke, so we'll see if shadowgato can keep it calm, cool, and collected as he has for the majority of this run. Playing pretty solidly, in my opinion. Heading into Bowser's Kingdom, we're only plus 23 on PB, which when you're running against a 102 flat is quite impressive. Got a current BPT on the side of shadowgato of 102.14, which if we were to see that, I would be completely shocked, but also impressed. On the other hand, FanDeLight Ron playing pretty well, but unfortunately the Deep Woods plus... there's like quite a few other flubs, honestly, with FanDeLight's run, but sitting at about a 121 deficit over their PB. Taking another bonk there on the shards. It's understandable, it's a pretty tight movement. shadowgato wrapping up the Harriet fight here. Gonna be fighting the other brutal Topper. Not long for this world. Probably a little bit nervous as shadowgato just completely made quick work of Harriet. We will have to see here what happens for the rest of this kingdom, as we were talking about before, but Moon Kingdom pretty consistent. shadowgato though, lost track of which hat Topper was in there. Does manage to nab him. But taking a bop from one of the hats before being able to stand on it, and once again, so a little bit more time lost here. Can't quite find the right hat. Does end up finding it eventually, but just as we were trying to gas up shadowgato a little bit, taking a bit of a fall. FanDeLight pulls up to the bunnies fight just as shadowgato is exiting, which is indicative that that is a pretty big time gap. shadowgato, of course, grabbing that flag there in order to keep himself from collecting a moon with low health. If you collect a moon with low health, you have to watch an animation of your health meter refilling. You grab a checkpoint, your health meter will just fill automatically, which is obviously more desirable. So might look like we lost time there, but actually probably ends up a net positive for shadowgato. Unable to nab that triple jump, but not the biggest deal. Knows the backups going pretty cleanly here, as he's going to be going for the blind jump here, I'd imagine. We're on the final climb here for shadowgato up to the mech fight. Will we see a successful mech? I would like to imagine so, as shadowgato has been playing pretty dang close to PB. Be a bit rough to see him take a tumble here, but it would bring FanDeLight back into it, so we'll see what happens. shadowgato losing about 30 whole seconds on that bunny split, so kind of a big chunk of time lost there for shadowgato, while FanDeLight not making those same mistakes on the bunnies fight, not making the same bonks at the beginning of the stage, and does save quite a bit of time, so this mech fight gonna be very important at this point. Alright, this is the moment of truth here. Target acquired. Does nail it, so shadowgato attempting to put the nail in the coffin here. That might be the last one, as FanDeLight is running out of options. We're heading into the moon split. We've said it multiple times in this race. It's hard to lose a colossal amount of time there, but we'll see. It's been done before. Even up until the last wire sequence, you can get a pretty unfortunate Invisawall there. Yeah, as Chad is pointing out, we can still see a 102 out of shadowgato. So whether you want shadowgato to win or FanDeLight to win, maybe throw some copy pastas in the chat. They've known to help the racers before. I know in the Drew, can't remember even, I think it was Drew versus shadowgato. Shadowgato actually got bopped by the power of copy pastas, so I hate to bring out the copy pastas here again versus shadowgato, but maybe it's what we need. Was it shadowgato or is it Super Wookie? We'll have to investigate. No, it was shadowgato. FanDeLight with a pretty good mech of his own there. Duck trying to make my anxiety spike. Thank you, Duck, in the chat for... I don't even know what to thank you for. Thank you for being a duck. Pretty clean movement here so far from shadowgato. Uh-oh, okay, not a big deal. We're gonna recover. It's okay. Whew. One of those moments where as a racer your heart just completely stops for a second, but it's okay. We're collecting a checkpoint. I respect that. Very much respect that. One thing you can oftentimes see in SMO speedrunners, specifically in races, is people have too much pride. They won't collect a checkpoint no matter what, and it show a lot of gamer potential going for those checkpoints, and you're going for the one wall moon cave skip. That is very poggers, very epic. Hey, I tried the commentator's curse. I tried to bust out the copy pasta hex on shadowgato again, but unfortunately chat just not working with me. Apparently we don't have enough FanDeLight fans in the building. I'm trying to do my job as a commentator, but it's not quite working out. You use holes in the textures. Oh my gosh. shadowgato having some troubles here with the Bowser fight, it seems. As we are chasing hats around, this is not where we want to be. That hat has boxing gloves on it, which was quite scary. Boxing gloves, of course. Something you're gonna put in your wedding hat every time. Don't question it. Yeah. That's the good thing about play-by-playing as a commentator, is that you're always going to curse someone at some point, because I don't know, the second you start talking nicely about somebody, they make a mistake. Shadowgato here, nailing the fast hats, final cycle. It's about to be ended, and we only have the escape sequence left, so if the door's not shut already on FanDeLight, there's barely just a crack open. Needs to kick his toe in the door. Perhaps order some sort of distraction to Shadowgato's door, perhaps a pizza. Could be quite distracting. Maybe Shadowgato is hungry. I mean, hungry enough apparently to plop his entire face into that porridge in his profile picture, so just an option, something to throw out there if you're a FanDeLight fan. Alright, the copy pastas are in the chat. I'm not sure if they're strong enough though. In the Drew versus Shadowgato match, we had way more copy pastas. I don't know. I don't know if that's enough chat energy, guys. $2D skip, one of the final bastions of hope for FanDeLight, and that is it. I mean, what else is there? A Pillar's death? Hard to imagine a world where a Pillar's death would change the outcome here. Perhaps an Invisawall could save the day, but I think we're going to see Shadowgato here picking up a win, and I am a fan of it. Shadowgato definitely deserves a win here. It was pretty sad to see the loss in the Ocarina's Drew match, but it's time to get your cat jams out. Absolutely no Pepe Ds. I will also accept soft jams or any other sort of jam emojis. Just one more pillar to go here, and Shadowgato will be walking away with his first win of the tournament. A little bit of a scary spot to be shooting fireballs, Shadowgato. I don't know if I would choose that particular spot if I were you, but it works. It works in the end. We're all okay. No Invisawall. We are A-okay. It looks like FanDeLight... Did FanDeLight take a death in the Bowser fight? What happened? I was honestly distracted behind the scenes pressing buttons. Hey, somebody in the chat can fill me in. Seems to me like we are a little bit further behind than we were. And yeah, we were talking before about how that's not exactly the most characteristic death to have, but it certainly just happened, so... But regardless, FanDeLight here, gonna be heading into the escape sequence. Not too shabby of a time. Looks like we'll be ending up with about a 106 or so, depending on what transpires here in the next couple minutes. I'd like to thank the chat for coming and supporting the races today. Been a nice day of races. A tiny bit shorter than anticipated, but all the same, I think it was a nice evening. Nice evening of SMO. I hope everybody else enjoyed. We'll be, of course, letting FanDeLight finish out their run here, but it is the final race of the evening. But shouts to everybody in the chat. We would not be able to put on these events without the support of the community, whether it be, you know, just chatting in the chat room, jumping in for commentary, participating in the races. It all adds up to continuing these SMO events, whether it be any percent, Dark Side, World Peace, any of those. Have to get a little bit more creative potentially in the future with our SMO content. We haven't really had anything new and fantastic recently. FanDeLight having some... Oh, what are you doing, FanDeLight? No! FanDeLight just trolling right now. FanDeLight, why? Why have you done this, FanDeLight? Oh, no. Oh, God. Is it gonna be one of those? As long as I don't have to cut a racer off for trolling, that always feels bad. Because it's like... on one hand, it's like, alright, we gotta wrap things up eventually. But on the other hand, it's like, what if they're not trolling? Like, in that case, it was pretty obvious that it was like, alright, we're messing around. But sometimes it's like, I don't know, I'm just gonna keep letting them go forever. Because I don't want to be that guy and be like, alright, we're gonna move on. And then they're like, I was just trying to finish my run. True XD. Alright, I don't know if I saw enough cat jams in the chat earlier. Maybe we can get some more prepared here, gamers. I saw a total of 2 users post jam emojis. I must remind you, this is your final chance of the day to post your cat jams in the chat. So let's see them here as FanDeLight going to be finishing out their run. Not going to be 106 anymore after the bit of, let's just say, Poggers 2D movement. Alright, that's more like it. I'll accept it. We got 3 whole users jamming in the chat. I like to see it. If you spam enough jam emojis, I think it'll feel like we have 1,000, honestly. But either way, FanDeLight going to be wrapping things up, and that will be it for us today. We will, of course, try to get these runners in for interviews. Typical Pepe D gang, failing to even type the emoji. And it's understandable. I mean, Pepe D, the inferior emoji. Cat Jam, of course, #1 in all of our hearts. As FanDeLight going to be wrapping things up here with a 107.34. Oh, I stopped it early. I stopped it early just to make sure. I'm not gonna lie, I stopped it early, but we're just gonna pretend like it was a 34. Actually, it was a 34. That's what it says on FanDeLight stream. So, Poggers. I did it right. But regardless, all good things must come to an end, and this race is one of those things. It is a good thing, and it is ending. I actually remembered to pay out the prediction early. This is a new era in GSA. Prediction paid out on time. Yeah. Wooded was definitely a rough one to watch, FanDeLight. Feel free to hop in the waiting room, by the way, if you want to interview. I do have a little bit of time before I must go to sleep. It's 3 in the morning for me. I won't have too much time to chat about it, but if you do want to hop in for a little bit, I would be more than hyped to do so. Doc, go eat a brick. I'm supposed to eat like 10 of those, right? Alright, looks like both racers not gonna interview. You hate to see it. But that's just the way it is sometimes. Totally acceptable. Not every racer is gonna be wanting to hop on for an interview or put on their webcam, and that's totally understandable. So you guys get to listen to me ramble on for the next 2 or 3 minutes as we, discuss the up-and-coming events here on GSA. To get to know each other a little bit, maybe bond. Have a real community experience. Gonna have matches in the SMO 80% Open for the rest of the weekend. Both Saturday and Sunday are gonna be chock full of matches. Got at least 4 matches on each day. Actually, I think exactly 4 matches on each day. So we will be having at least 6 hours of any percent starting at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow and then at noon Eastern on Sunday. Definitely stop by for those. A good mixture of Division B and A this weekend. Quite a bit of Division A, actually. We're pretty close to wrapping up both tournaments, so might as well start mixing a lot of those Division A matches in there. But I again have to shout out the racers. And of course myself. I mean, if I don't shout out myself, what am I doing, right? Gotta set a good example for the other commentators, please. If you are in the booth, it does take quite a bit of effort to come in and, you know, put yourself out there, talk about Super Mario Odyssey for a whole hour. And I would appreciate it if you did promote yourself in, you know, that respect. A lot of racers seemingly to be, I don't know, a little bit afraid. Not necessarily afraid, but like hesitant. Might be seen as taboo a little bit in the community, but I think we need to kick that swiftly in the butt, because a little bit of self-promotion never hurt. Never hurt anybody. Where's the Flavian command? Okay, look, Doug, we can't have commands for everybody. Big Flavian fan here, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. But also, other than the Super Mario Odyssey any percent open, we also have quite a bit of other content coming up. Have a couple of live showcases going on this weekend. Not really super certain the details on those, but they will be happening at the event center in Maryland where we host PACE. So worth checking those out. I think more importantly, we have the 16-star Sleep LTA coming up. Gonna be pretty poggers. Gonna be pretty epic. Got some of the best Super Mario 64 players gonna be duking it out next weekend. I'm gonna be plugging it pretty much every time I'm on comms because I'm super hyped. I'm not sure about the other commentators, but we'll see if we can force them to talk about it too. We will be raising money to support Tackle Kids Cancer, which supports research and awareness for pediatric cancer. Very important cause. I think everybody can get behind kicking cancer in the butt. But for right now, I don't got anything else to talk about. Chat, we're gonna have to part ways, but that's okay. I'm trying to decide who we're gonna raid. Got some options today. Oh, I know who we're gonna raid. 100%. Alright, gamers. We're gonna go raid Ultimate Gamer Sly Freak 1. Contributor to the GSA streams, has helped out on commentary, is about to wrap up an All Moons run here. It's about 40 minutes left in their run, and I'm sure that they will be taking a little bit of a rest after that, but I'm sure they'll pass on the raid. Would appreciate everybody pulling through and supporting. They are a big community member in the SMO world, so definitely go show them some support. Drop a follow. If you got 10,000 bits to drop me, you might as well do that too. Be sure to follow Speedrun on social media. By that I mean the Global Speedrun Association. Also, feel free to hop into our Discord. We have daily discussions. We get to know each other. You can interact with the players, interact with the commentators, as well as get heads up on all the upcoming events. But for right now, let's go check out Sly Freak, and I will see everybody tomorrow, bright and early at 1 p.m. That is pretty dang early for us speedrunners, I must say. But yeah, I will see you guys at 1 p.m. tomorrow for more SMO any percent action. And that's it for now. Bye-bye.